Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Revelation from the Word. So, today I want to talk to you about Matthew 25, the parable of the 10 virgins. And what exactly does it look like, or what does it mean for me to get oil in my own lamp? Well, in verse 1, he says, "The kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom." Isn't it interesting that he starts off by saying there was 10 virgins, they all had lamps, and they all had oil, and they all went out to meet the bridegroom. So what is the meaning of this passage? Well, the number 10 actually meant something back in the culture where Jesus was referring to. The number 10 was a representation of a congregation in Judaism where they had to have what was called a minyan, meaning there had to be at least 10 people before they could pray public. So the number 10 could speak of people in the public congregation, or it could be that these virgins are actually representing the church. You know, Jesus said he's coming back for a bride, pure, spotless bride. And the virgin would represent purity. Well, in verse 2 it says, there was 5 wise and 5 foolish. It doesn't say that there was a middle ground. Later on in this chapter, he talks about in the end times where there will be sheep on his one side and goat on the other side. There's no middle ground. In verse 3 and 4, it says, they all expected his arrival. They all knew he was coming. It wasn't a surprise. Not a whole lot different than in the church today. Everybody knows that he's coming. We just don't know when. And then it says, at midnight there was a cry, and they all got up and went out to meet him. But the 5 foolish said, hey, we are running out of oil. Can you give us some of your oil? In verse 9 it says, the 5 wise virgins said to the foolish, you go buy your own oil. I'd like to say there's things that come with a price. Is it possible that the lamps are a gift? The lamp is a gift, but the oil will cost you everything. It's similar to salvation is a free gift, but denying yourself will cost you everything you were never designed for. Quite a while ago, I was praying, asking the Lord about this parable, this passage, saying, I just feel like I don't understand it. And recently, a couple months ago, someone was praying over me, and out of that prayer, I heard the Lord say, how do you make oil? You make oil by pressing in. Oil is made by coming through a press and pressing in and creating oil. And I like to say that it is referring to the secret place, getting to know him. Are you willing to press in? Are you willing to pay the price that it takes to press in, to getting to know the Father and not going off of other people? We can't live on other people's oil, or you can't live on borrowed oil. We only live on our own oil. I feel like in the secret place, when we press in and we get to know him and we know that he's good and faithful. So when we come into dark places, that oil will burn bright to lead us the way through the darkness. That we are not alone. It sheds light on our path. I want to encourage you today that there may be people you're sitting beside in church that actually don't know him. Be bold and courageous, and don't be afraid to say, how's your relationship with the Lord? How are you doing? Don't be afraid to reach out to your loved ones. And I feel like this week, God will lay someone on your heart and encourage you to reach out and say, hey, how is your intimacy with the Lord? You only get oil by spending time with him, by pressing in the secret place. You know, in verse 12, it says, but he answered to them. This was after they came to him and said, Lord, Lord, open the door for us. This is when they went to get their own oil. It was too late. He said, assuredly I say to you, I don't know you. That word know means they had no intimacy, they had no relationship. They knew about him, but didn't know him. And I feel like this is referring to the church today. We don't get to know him by going to church or living off of other people's oil. We only get to know him in the secret place by spending time with him. And I want to say it's easier than it seems. Take 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, and ask him. Dan Mohler says the Bible is the only book that the author has to be present in order for you to understand it. And it's so beautiful. Don't live on other people's oil. Thank you for watching this video, and I bless you.